such an asshole.
Hello, children. It's getting late night, Cappy. I'm glad you've asked me this question because I, being part of Gen X, that wasn't given to me. I just bought that at Michael's Fabrics for a shtick. There's no better expert in the field. You could just walk up to your random Gen X. Excuse me, could you tell me about divorce? Oh, yes, I can. I'm Gen X. I'm an expert at it. What would you like to know? No, don't talk to the therapist. Haven't you figured it out? They don't know what they're talking about. Everyone's worse off mentally. They're not improving. It's a farce. It's a hoax. What ails you, my son? So this guy has an interesting question, and he did not follow instructions. You didn't follow instructions. I told you to email me. I have, and don't worry, you're not the only one. You're not Gen X. I get it. You're afraid of your own shadow because you're a younger generation than Gen X, and you don't pay attention. And that's okay. You don't have to follow instructions. Half the people didn't tell me if they paid. I'm just, why am I getting paid? Dear Cap, I hope this email finds you well. To get the platitudes out of the way, my father and I appreciate the work you've done to help steer the troubled, ignorant, or questioning people like us towards a better financial future and a happier life. The only thing do you follow instructions? Do you follow instructions? I'd started following instructions. The only thing I've asked for Christmas is a collection of your books, A World Without Men, The Book of Numbers, Batch of Pat Economics. Guys, you don't have, I mean, if you got it, the wisdom, I appreciate it, but you don't have to like, hey, I got the books. It's like, do you need my books? To study as if they were college textbooks. I would continue, but Dr. NonStop Trade is telling me to not boost your ego further than your height. Jokes aside, you have brought my father and I closer, so thank you. The truth will either push people away or bring them closer. To get to the point, my question for you is, what advice could you give to Gen Z and Gen Alpha on dealing with, healing from, and eventually moving on from their parents' divorce? You've spoken many times of the superficial and egotistical nature of millennials and Gen Xers, and you're talking about them from a parental perspective. And I hope to be reading about them on the 26th. But how does one... Well, okay, here, if you got this type of question... Okay, Batch of Pat Economics... The book of numbers, I'll go with that. Honestly, before you get A World Without Men, which, okay, go get it. But I would get How Not to Become a Millennial. If you got these generational questions, get that one. That one would help out a lot more, I think. If you're reading the book of Numbers, A World Without Men is merely going to tell you the economic ramifications of that, which is interesting unto itself. But if you're a younger guy looking for guidance, I'd go get the How Not to Become a Millennial. But how does one prevent themselves? Okay, you have spoken many times of the superficial and egotistical nature of millennials and Gen Xers, and I hope to be reading about them on the 26th. But how does one prevent themselves from becoming a reflection of their parents after seeing them at their worst? Now, here's the interesting thing. I want to go part into your optional background. I'm currently 23 at the time of writing this, and I live with my parents, being separated for 22 of those years. So this split my family has never seemed odd to me. Yeah, so you're not even necessarily suffering from it because it happened before you were even conscious. You just kind of woke up and I've lived with my parents being separate for 22 years. Yeah, so this isn't necessarily affecting you. This is affecting everybody. So let's talk about this. All right, how you get over it is like how you get over any other traumatic, devastating event. You just get over it. All right. I am so fucking sick and tired of therapists and counselors. They are like economists. They are failing at their job and they're getting worse. And ultimately, when you find out there is no science, it's a weird thing. Like there is biological, neurological. Yeah, there is like some authenticity to some of these things. But by God, for every one of those things, there are 4 or 5 things they're all like. And then you look at the therapists themselves, and they're all fucked in the head. I have some inside baseball about therapy. Like, what do you do behind closed doors? I get to peer behind that when I was a banker, and I got to see people's financial statements. And therapists, it's just like, oh, well, can I do this with can I do that? How can it's like, dude, you're supposed to be like somewhat of a moral authority figure here, and you're trying to cheat the system, get applied for more loans and all that. You're a fucking therapist. Get the fuck out of here. So this and they are pushing, especially starting with the millennials, like, oh, you're an active boy who doesn't like being cooped up indoors all day. You have a mental disorder. Here's some drugs. And now you start hearing younger people talk on videos about like, you need to get in therapy, get your therapy. It's like you're treating it like you need to get your water or your air or your food. I'm not saying it should be shameful to get therapy, but that's not what normal people do. And now it's just kind of like a subscription service that everybody gets, like Netflix. It's like, no, it's not. You shouldn't need a therapist. And I keep saying, like, well, when are people going to get cured? When I got 2 questions. 3, when are economists going to be right? When is socialism going to work? And when are people going to get better talking to therapists? When do you cure some people? And any authentic therapist will tell you this: you have to do the work. You have to do the heavy lifting. They can only show you the door. And you could go talk to a therapist if you want, but yeah, you know what? Bad things happen, and you're going to suffer, and then you'll get over it, and then you'll be stronger, and then you won't be as influenced, and then you'll be cynical and jaded. But then you'll get old. You say, "Oh, this wasn't cynicism or jadism. This is just reality." Thank you, Gen X. We salute back at you. Thank you, kid. And then you'll be the ultimate rebel. You say, fuck the boomers, fuck the millennial parents. I'm going to go vote Republican and get a job, become an engineer or a plumber. No! And you'll be disowned by your pansy pussy father who plays the acoustic guitar, if you could find him, because your mom divorced him and then he didn't know where he went. And then she married her new boyfriend. Fuck you, Mom. I'm going to be stable. And if I do have kids, I'm going to wait till I'm married and I have enough income and I got a house. We're going to be a nuclear family. And both me and my wife are going to be straight. Oh, no. Oh, you've all become Alex P. Keaton. That never happened. Anyway, yeah, so the short answer is that no matter what, you're going to suffer. And unfortunately, like, see, this channel is for adults, obviously only. Well, not only. I mean, I can't prevent a little kid, but and it sucks even when you're an adult and your parents get divorced. But the people who really need it are the little kids. Now, you were fortunate that you were still an infant, so you avoided it. But if you're a little kid, even if you're a teenager still living at home, that still sucks. But yeah, especially if you're a little kid. Oh, there is a special place in hell reserved for, what was it, child molesters and people who talk in the theaters. Yeah, that's horrible. Absolutely horrible. But there's nothing else you can do but suffer it. Some people die. Your wife divorces you. You get cancer. It's the facts are the facts. That's how it goes. And I'm not against you talking to anyone about it. Yeah, go talk to a therapist if you think it's going to help. But it's the same thing. I mean, the advice that I would give for that is the same advice that any advice that was that where you suffer traumatic loss. If you're an adult, if you're a kid, my heart goes out to you. I'm sorry, kid. And well, that's one thing, especially for the elders. You're gonna have to be strong because your siblings are gonna look to you. But for the adults, a more, because you have a driver's license, I guess. Work out, run, cardio, just run every day. Get out there, get your sleep, use sleeping pills the way they were intended, not the other way. Not like a 1990s teenage girl drama starring Winona Ryder. Okay, I'm not talking that use of sleeping pills. Get your sleep. Take a sleeping pill. You got to kill your brain from running all around. You don't control it. Stoicism helps. I link below to the modern day Stoic book that everyone should read. It's called The Way of Monkey book. I know it sounds like a lame title, but that's because it was written by turd-flinging monkeys. So it's called The Way of Monkey book. It is an outstanding book. You need to learn to accept what you do to not control. Because when you go through a traumatic event, divorce, or your parents getting divorced, you getting divorced, death, whatever, your natural instinct is to try to fight it. And you have got to understand that is a foregone conclusion. It's over. There is no time machine. And you need to train your mind as quickly as possible to stop caring as quickly as possible, to stop worrying as quickly as possible about something that cannot be undone. And once you get to that acceptance stage as quickly as possible, it's so becoming very good or very, I don't know, become really good. I'm really good at stoicism. I guess that's a thing. Practice stoicism, know it, incorporate it, catch your thinking before like you worry, catch it. Nope, not going to happen. I'm always for vice at that moment in time, like getting ice cream, like throw your diet away, although you'll be running so much it won't matter. But you want to have ice cream, get yourself some ice cream. You want to have a drink, okay, don't go ape shit with it, but have yourself a drink. Treat your body. You want to go travel on vacation? That's a perfect time to go on vacation. Go travel. Go get out. But yeah, you're just going to have to accept your parents aren't together anymore. And they always said when you're like, it's not your fault. I never understood. Like, no, fuck, boomer. Oh, thank you, Mr. Therapist Boomer. It ain't my fault. Really? No fucking shit. Oh, I thought it was my fault. Boy, did Dr. Spock tell you that one? That the kids are going to think it's their fault. No, I don't think the kids think it's their fault. I never once said, yeah, this is my fault somehow. Fucking boomers knew nothing. They're so fucking arrogant and so fucking sanctimonious and so fucking stupid. And now they're paying. I love reading these articles where the largest percent increase in the homeless are boomers. Oh, that's just too fucking bad. I hope they were all therapists in the 1970s. Fucking know nothing morons. And I mean, if you think it's somehow your fault, I think that's more for little kids, but I don't think kids were that dumb. Like, yeah, this is my fault. You two are yelling at each other. But as an adult, if somehow that holds over and you irrationally think that your parents getting divorced is your fault or somehow your fault, no, that's wrong. And I don't know, man. Like everyone what's the solution? How do I get over this thing? It's like sometimes there is no solution. Sometimes like, yeah, it's just going to hurt for a while and maybe even a long time. It's going to hurt a lot. And then going forward, you say, and this is about the only good that could come from divorce. Is like, let's not do it again. Let's stop this cycle. How does one prevent themselves from becoming a reflection of their parents after seeing them at their worst? Okay, well, you make a choice that you're not going to become them. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to be intellectually honest with yourself and not be lazy. Let's be very clear what the cause of most problems in the world are. Someone's lazy. I'd imagine most marriages go like this. Girl keeps it up for a while to stay attractive. Suckers guy into marrying her. She gets fat or doesn't start putting out anymore or just, it's not the marital bliss she saw on Dallas or Sex in the City or whatever bullshit propagandist film it was to get him to buy an $8,000 handbag. The husband gets demoralized because his wife is becoming a fat piece of shit and he's not as fun or flirtatious or romantic anymore. She thinks that, it's not because I'm fat, because Oprah's a fat pig, and she said I'm big and amazing and beautiful. Can't possibly be because I'm fat. Then she's not getting her love or the flirtation or anything more like that. Then if she finds a guy out there, she'll go cheat on your husband, on your father for whatever failings. All right. And it could happen the other way. I know a couple places where the guy's a piece of shit and he doesn't pick up the house. He doesn't do his I pride myself on like, I do it for myself, but don't girls couldn't give a shit less about you running a tight ship and having a great house and cars maintained. They'll appreciate it a little bit, but you really got to make them do it themselves. But there's guys who do not maintain the house, who do not maintain the cars. Who don't contribute to the 401ks, who are losers. I mean, look at all the tradesmen. If you find a tradesman that's on one wife, holy shit. I mean, well, he must be 18 or 19 years old then because he's just starting. But yeah, guys are all, it's someone's lazy. Someone's not doing the job, and they're usually getting out of shape. They're not working hard. They're pissed. Money is another thing. Typically women, not always though. Men want to go buy their fancy cars. You girls buy a bunch of dumbass shit. Money gets tight. Y'all get pissed off. And it all starts with being intellectually honest with yourself, having honor, having integrity, working, getting your finances together. No, I'm not getting married until I have my finances together. No, I don't care how pretty your tits are. I'm not bailing you out of your student loans. You and I are not forming a relationship. No, we're not having kids until you save up some money and we can afford the health care. He's a fictional character. You boomer cocksuckers, hope hell is super hot for you all. They all made fun of Ward Cleaver. What a dope. What an idiot. Look at this guy with his stable job and his Oh, it's who we need now. We need Ward Cleaver and Alex P. Key. Now we do need June Cleaver too. Everyone did their job. Everyone had honor and integrity. And so not only do you have to have it, you have to make sure the person you chooses has it. Which, by the way, ladies, generally speaking, it's not impossible, but generally speaking, the felon doesn't have these traits and qualities you're looking for. And just you make a commitment not to become them. I mean, you can figure it out, right? I mean, you usually can figure it out. Mom was a whore. Dad was a philanderer. There was no money. They didn't make enough money. They pissed away their money. You could figure it out. Like, it didn't work for, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes, but you could probably, depending on your, 2, you're not going to pick up on it. But by the time you're 10, yeah, you should have an idea. You should know whether or not there's money in the house. And then the only other thing I could say is what also probably causes it is, I'll be simplifying this a lot, but women are wrong. They've been given the wrong information about how a relationship works. There's a leader and there's a follower. And as I've gotten older, especially when I taught ballroom dance, but even though I get older now, that is so vital because you do not have the time. Resources are so tight, and by resources, I mean time and money. And the way you get money is through time. You do not have the time to argue and nitpick. One motherfucker is in charge. It can be the guy or the gal. I don't give a shit. Usually it's the guy. But then by God, if you're the leader, fucking lead. And if you're the follower, shut the motherfucking hell up and follow. Don't ask, don't nag, don't question, don't harumph. You comply with jovial compliance and get the shit done. That people really don't understand what it's like running. I don't have kids. I'm a dink. But like, to get this shit done, don't question me. Fucking do what I say now. And if you got a partner on you, like, yep, let's go. You got a team, you're going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Boom, you'll get so much shit done and you'll actually be able to do it. But if every day there's a question, there's a fucking nitpick. I'm looking at you, ladies, though it can happen to the guys too. And here's the thing. Lead. Ladies, if you want to lead, I've seen it. It happens. There's the gal that wears the pants in the family. And there's the pushover, Democrat soy boy. And it works because the guy actually will let the woman lead. Was okay, you lead. But excuse me, fuck off, Karen. You're turning into a Karen. The guy kind of actually steps out of the way and lets the gal do it. I'm like, okay, and it works. It works. Same thing with ballroom dancing. Number of times I had to go up to gals like, what are you doing right now? Like, what? What are you doing? Like, the music is playing, right? And imagine this scenario. You girls don't realize you do it because you just like, I don't know if it's genetic or you choose not to have self-awareness. The music, I teach some people some basics. They're just doing the basic step. And the music will be playing, and the music is there with the beat. The music plays, so you hear the beat, so you dance to the music. They don't play music for shits and giggles. I'm not joking. Half the time the women were talking to their husbands or their man, and I have to go, "What are you doing?" Well, he's not. What are you doing right now? Well, I'm telling him how to. It's like he doesn't have time to listen to you. He's got to listen to the music. Don't tell him he's screwing up. Now you're detracting from him. You let him lead. The idea of shutting the fuck up and just letting the guy focus or the leader focus and not interrupting them, not questioning them. One leads, the other follows and jovially supports the leader. It will not work any other way. And I guarantee you, ever since the boomers came aboard with their burning bra bullshit, this, we got to button our nose, we got to lean in, we got to stick our button. I don't know, I want to coat. God, oh, fucking mighty. Can't imagine why your husband cheated on you. Can't imagine why the guy's demoralized. Can't imagine why everyone's getting divorced. Oh, and I'll tell you this, man, if you're going to have kids, one parent stays the fuck home and raises them. Again, I don't give a shit who it is. One goes fucking work. The other stays the fuck home, takes care of the kids, and takes care of the home. Like, I don't know, they did forever. And good luck finding a girl who's going to go along with that. And so, to provide added cynical Gen X wisdom, if you're going to stay in the West, be prepared to not get married. All right, just don't. It's not worth it, man. You either get the lead follow dynamic going on, and you get your finances together and all that, or you don't, or you're going to have to go overseas to find more traditional people. But I'll tell you right now, the way you don't become the way you avoid it totally is you don't get married. I think for both men and women, it would help to understand, given Americans' track records, like we're just not mature enough to get married, to stay married anymore. And so I would almost go into it kind of like, I think it was the Romans. They did like marriage was a contract for a certain number of years because I guess they knew they'd just get on each other's nerves and it would end. I would just go into it like, yeah, this marriage thing until death do us part doesn't work that way. Humans aren't like that. We'll date, we'll hang out, maybe we'll have kids. And if we have kids, we got to wait until they're 18 and we'll fake staying together. But after that, no, we're going our own way, or we'll reevaluate the contract. Because it's like a car. You Americans are too irresponsible to own a car and maintain it. I think you should just lease from the finance dealership or whatever, bring it back in. They'll do the maintenance and repairs. But you guys aren't responsible enough to have cars. It's like the Ring and Lord of the Rings. Nobody's responsible enough to hold it. So look at it, pick it up with a stick, but don't touch it. Yeah, so there you go. I'm sorry that's cynical and jaded. Oh, but I want to get married. Do you really? Do you really? Can you get what you... Here's another thing. Try to see if you could get what you want out of life without getting married. Like, you don't need to sign the document. You don't need a marriage license to commit to another person. You don't have to live in the same house. That's where I think the future is. I'd be like, no, you got your place, I have mine. Two different people, two different lives, and there you go. Kids would throw a curveball into it, but yeah, man, just choose the right person. Be motherfucking clear. I mean, and maybe I'm not saying you couldn't find two dyed-in-the-wool, pansy pussified Democrats, of which there's no other kind, where they're just la, 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 and they rule by committee and they feed their kids mushrooms and tofu. I'm not even saying that couldn't work. I mean, there's a lot of 8 billion people on the planet. It can work. All right. But generally, these sexes have evolved to be dynamic against one another, to supplement one another and play specific roles. And I think your chances would drastically increase if you stuck with those traditional roles, made clear that these are the roles you're going to do. For the love of God, don't major in dumb shit and go get crippling levels of debt, so you're entering into it financially disabled. Oh, here's another thing. Sit down, everyone. Don't get fat. Oh my God. It goes for you boys too. Hit the gym. Ladies, swear to motherfucking Christ, don't get fat. What the hell? We have a word for women we like but don't want to fuck. They're called our friends. And we're not going to marry you. And that's grounds for leaving. Girl gets fat, or your husband gets fat. That's ground for leaving right there. Leave, because you're not going to get married, so that you don't need to get divorced. You just leave. So there, that's Cappy's advice to make sure you don't get divorced. As with my relationships with my parents, I've definitely had the best experience of divorced parents than any of my other friends who lived in the same situation. My mother cares deeply about me. Well, she was the one to run away with my neighbor. Her thoughts were always on my safety and security and that other guy's dick. Don't forget that. Oh my God, this dick is amazing. I hate my family so much. Oh, it was totally worth it. Oh, her thoughts are always that father was always tried his best to stay in my life despite the horrible situation he was put through, despite the rare tirade over the frustration of our situation. Oh, he was entitled to being angry. Absolutely. He made the best of it. We grew close enough where I look to him as not only a father, but a friend, of which I am grateful for, given the rarity of such a relationship. No, that's good. That's great, man. I certainly had trouble in my early adulthood knowing what I wanted as a career. And after flunking out of college after 2 years, English class is a joke. The only creativity allowed is that which they deem correct. I eventually landed on becoming a highly compensated, a blue-collar tradesman. I won't say what, because that's really cool, which I enjoy heaps more than my original degree. I want to emphasize the point in that sentence. College is not the end-all, be-all. I am thankful that most of my friends were smart enough to see through the charade of college as well. That's awesome. It's good to see an entire group of guys I think we're making progress. Who knows? Another 7 generations and $12 trillion later, maybe the kids won't go to college anymore and will get trade jobs instead. But I still see too many of my generation fall for the rhetoric. Please continue to do the work you do. I got nothing else to do, man. Got nothing else. I ain't going back to banking. I'm not going to go back to do that shit. Always look forward to watching a new video or catching a live stream. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, okay. We got a geekery on. We know, yeah, geekery. So there you go. That's how you get over divorce, Gen X style. 8 super chats so far. Bob, $2. You should do stand up, man. People keep saying that, but it's a different. You need a routine. You have to sit down and come up with routine. You have to rehearse the routine, and you got to deliver the routine. I've done things very similar with my dance classes and my finance courses. It's the same thing. Sometimes 5-6 nights a week, and you can get it polished. But you got to sit down and come up with something that's funny and then make it look like it's natural. I don't have to worry about that shit. There's no script here. I just have to it writes itself. My mom really cared about me. Well, she was, the neighbors, oh my goodness. Neighbors come. It's the best come in the world. Oh, I mean, come on, man. Really? Yeah, I know his mom does love, obviously, but I'm just like, oh yeah, you couldn't have waited. Bob, $2. Do the impressions when the HR lady slip throw. Do the impressions when the HR lady slip throw. I don't even know what HR lady slipping through. Aren't HR ladies just, I need a cauldron and a stick to stir the kettle or the cauldron and then cast spells. I wonder if there's a correlation between HR ladies and those believe in Wicca and casting spells and all that other bullshit. Not because their profession is essentially predicting the future, but they're evil. Oh, I'm sorry. XL Visor. $5. Appreciate all your work, campaign. If you this is great, y'all think this is work. It takes time. It takes some doing, but this ain't work. Paul K, $5. He should do stand up. I think the crowd would piss him off a little, though. I can't. What crowd would I do it to? That's another. Think about this. Where am I going to sell? Where am I going to perform? They're canceling Chappelle. They're canceling Bill Burr. I don't know who else they're canceling. I think even Seinfeld or something like college campuses. Chris Rock. I think some of them they can't perform. What audience am I going to perform at? The percentage of women in the audience that have cheated on their husbands would be insulted at the end. I mean, beyond funny, haha, open-minded is like, oh yeah, you love the neighbor's dick more than you do your kid or your family. And I'd make that funny. Those girls would not find that funny. No one would sign up. There would now, maybe if I did like a video and then put it on the YouTubes, but that's what we're doing here now, aren't we? Kind of. Public nuisance. $5. My parents divorced over 15 years ago and still badmouth each other and ask questions about each other. Tired of being the middleman. Any advice? Tell them to shut the fuck up. Look, let me explain something to you. Okay. Your parents need to be punished. They do. They absolutely need to be punished. And my punishment was early on, where I just wouldn't talk to them as a little boy. All right. And they knew. All right. And I, as an older man, I'm like, am I helping either of you? I didn't say, oh, it's because you got divorced or anything. It's like, no, I'm not helping either of you. It's not helping. But I think they knew, like, it's amazing how everyone became much better people after the divorce. I think once they realized they weren't the center of the universe and that, like, oh shit, what did we do? I think this is every parent. They get a little humbled, at least a little. Some cases a lot. But if your parents are still, that's 15 years ago, say, listen, fuck. I mean, get in their face. Hey, fuck what? I don't give a shit. You guys couldn't keep it together. Fucking talk it out between yourselves. And don't fucking ask me about mom again. And you tell mom, don't ask me about fucking dad again. You got it? Your dad is going to be like, oh shit. Okay, here, let me explain to you how divorce works. The kids have to become the parents. The kids have to become the adults. And even though you may be too young, but at your age, you do. You have to become the adult. Say, knock this fucking shit off right fucking now. Look, divorce is proof that they were not the adults they claim to be. And they lose kind of their authority or monopoly on leadership and parenting. All right. Now, that doesn't mean you don't listen to your parents, that they don't know better than you. They generally do. But they're not the final arbiter. And their advice, it should immediately have all you young kids or adults call into question their wisdom and their leadership. Like, okay, what do they say? They said that, but that doesn't add up to this. And kids are pretty good at logic. Like, explain to me, he's on the plank of wood, and that was enough pain and agony when he went to hell to suffer for all of us, but isn't damnation eternal? So it's infinite pain and suffering. How come he only was there for 3 days? That doesn't add up on the ledger of accounts. Kids can figure it out. But when you're like, and for God's sake, guys, divorced or not, if your mom's a single mom, swear to God, don't listen to that woman for dating advice. You should never listen to women for dating advice, especially your mother, married or not. But if she's a single mom, for the love of fucking Christ, don't listen to her. Their authority is not called into question. It is in question. It is undermined. And now you're an older man. Tell them to shut the fuck up. It's not like we don't have their notes to compare here on the internet. Not like we don't know that people who get divorced are losers. I'm like, hey, if they're still doing that middle school bullshit, like, I don't have time for this fucking bullshit. You go call mom. Here. Actually, that's what you should do. Call up your mom. Here, dad's got a question. There you go. You do that to me again, I'll just call up mom and have you talk to her. Actually, I got it pretty good with my folks. I like they're like the ideal divorced parents. Some of you guys, wow. Universal coordinate, 15 Australian parents teach the children how to be in a relationship, absolutely contributing to the piss poor statistics of today. The boomers fucked us, Cappy, and they're still bending us off. No, here's the other thing about boomers. It's not malicious. They're too stupid. They didn't know. They're that dumb. They had that much shit shoved up their ass. They thought that they knew everything. I wonder if there's another generation like that. They're not now. Some of the corporate and the political groups are, yes. But I can tell you this: not one of your parents wanted to get divorced. And they're not lying to you. Like, they didn't tell you to go to college because they didn't love you and they wanted to go into debt. They told you because they loved you. They just had the wrong information and thought it was 1962 still. Justified misogyny, $2. Don't date women with any debt. It becomes yours. Well, you can date women. Name one person who doesn't have debt. I mean, I got credit cards, you know. You could date girls with debt. You don't marry someone with student loan debt. Absolutely not. Unless they were like a doctor, you know, or a dentist, you know, someone with like a real job. So yeah, you could date girls with debt. You can date girls with student loan debt. You can date communist, leftist, Marxist girls with student loan debt because that's all there really is. You just don't marry them. Dylan Schrading, was that a one-piece hat? $20. The Ring of the Nibelungen, original Lord of the Rings, was created because he couldn't get laid and was pissed off, and he wanted revenge against the sexy Nixies. Nixies? Is really the Lord of the Rings? Like what? It was like, okay, here's my nerdiness of the Bible. Was it like St. Paul with the thorn in his side? Not the porn in his side, the thorn in his side. Indicating he'd like to be rid of his sexual desires. NonStop Trade, $2. Cappy, a master of overcoming at his height. Yep. Well, you can't undercome. You can only overcome. I'm so short, you can't undercome. Yeah, I can't. Aaron's so short. How short? He's so short he can't underachieve. Huh? How you like that, Dre? Dong is fun. $5. T-Rash is the best option to be in. You don't have to live with them, and they're going to find some sucker to pay for your kid. It really is. Now, I think you need a little bit of genetics. You need to really hit the gym. And you have to either actually be a felon or you have to fake being a felon, which we've talked about, fake felon game, and it's very hard to pull that off. But yes, if you really want the girls, don't become Ward Cleaver. They make fun of that guy, and they don't have sex with Ward Cleaver. You want to get laid, you go become T-Rash. NonStop Trade, $2. Cappy's too short to do stand-up at 4'11". XL Visor, 20 generous dollars. Again, important consideration. I'm looking back at your parents' divorce. Don't romanticize over the other. It is both of their phones. After all, they did choose each other at one point in time. Right. Your mom chose to have sex with your dad. At one time, your dad was the hottest thing, and your mom wanted him inside her, sometimes multiple times. And then for whatever reason, for reasons outside your control that had nothing to do with you, okay, I apologize. Then they decided, hey, in front of God and the justice and the law and our family and friends, let's swear we're going to be together forever. Then they had you. And then they said, yeah, you know that thing with the vow? Fuck it. Listen to your mother and father about dating. Oh, dude, we're so lucky to be alive today with the red pill. Like, you guys are, you are not, it is not enemy at the gates where the guy ahead of you gets the gun and you get the bullets. And when that guy dies, you pick up his gun. It's like, here's some gun, here's some ammo, here's some grenades, here's some armor, here's a helmet, here's a radio, here's a map, and we got UAVs, we got airstrikes, we got artillery. Position was last seen over there. The Alpha team is going to go on the right flank. Bravo's going to go on the left. And Charlie's going to go right down the middle. We estimate their numbers between 225 and 228. You know about the other three. They're armored with this. We got so much more intelligence. There ain't no way you're going to get butchered like we did. Leopold Bloom, 2 Canadian. Hugh Blaze's Boylan was the original gangster Irish T-Rash in 1904. Okay, was he like a fighter or something? NonStop Trade, $2. Should kids question their parents if they are poor too? Like the parents are poor? Yeah. I mean, now, I've always said this. If your parents admit they were wrong, listen to them. But if they're poor and they're giving you financial advice and they're saying, don't do what I did, don't listen to them. Like, I got to imagine there's plenty of women my age giving their kids, you know, because my generation's kids are now approaching college. I guarantee you there's a bunch of women in my generation who are moms now who majored in the world's dumbest motherfucking shit. And they're telling their kids, well, go follow your heart and the money will follow. Yeah, but mom, isn't the only reason that you have anything is because you suck dad's dick and he bailed you out of your history degree? Isn't that the only... Why would I do the same thing, mom? So, I mean, you wouldn't know if you, because, you know, maybe the dad, you know, does well. But if your parents are divorced and they're poor and they're giving in an obscure sense, the worst advice I see is like, you need to get a new car. You need a reliable car. Like, no, not new car. Not new car. No. Good, reliable used car that you get to learn to fix yourself. I'll be perfectly honest. Usually the people giving the worst financial advice are the dads who are poor and like, you should really invest in this. You should really run a business. It's like, shut the fuck up. He should be telling you what not to do. And the only people that have the right to tell you what to do are the people who are successful. Like if Bill Gates were to say, Aaron, what you really ought to do when it comes to computers, I'll listen to the guy. When Warren Buffett says, like, you know, wants to give me a stock tip, I'll listen to him. When some boomer fuck says plastics, no one's going to get that one. Like, okay. You go get in your leased vehicle and shut the fuck up. NonStop Trade, $2. Cappy's too short for people to put expectations on. There you go. All right. That's it. Thank you for all the donations. I hope this kind, wonderful, tolerant advice has helped you kids. Yeah, I bet perfectly. Just go run, get exercise, and accept it. There's nothing you could do about it. And just vow you'll never do that to your children. And choose better than your parents did. And ladies, stop being whores. All right, good night, everybody. Toodles.